Thanks for checking out our video today. In this episode, I'm going to share with you some major updates that have taken place with our Lion Knights Castle, including the addition of a port. Now, if you've seen our other videos, you know that this port has been something that we've been planning for quite a while, and I'm very excited to share it with you. We are not quite finished the port. As you can probably see, there are some pieces that are missing, and I'm still waiting for that shipment to come in, and I'll share updates as we finish it, but it's mostly finished. Also, we have started renovations of the castle itself, and as you can see, we've got a lot of work to do, but I can't wait to share with you the plans for that. But before we get started, if you haven't seen any of our other videos, be sure to check them out. We've got lots of videos with our Black Falcon Castle and also some mountains and some other villages that are on the table, so be sure to check out the work that we've been doing over the last few years. Now, as much as I love building with Legos, I have very little creativity and ingenuity myself, and I need a plan to at least get started with the build. And the plan that I used for this port was from Lux Bricks on Rebrickable. And it's a pretty solid plan. The directions were pretty easy to follow. I was pretty happy with the build itself and the way that it turned out. It's not exactly 100% like the plan. Like most of my builds, I either don't have the pieces or I either make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. But this build is probably about 95 to 97% of what the plans called for. I did extend the port on the one side just a little bit, so I had a little bit of room. But the port itself is very nice, very sturdy. It fits very well with the Lion Knights theme. I was able to integrate it into the side of the castle quite easily so that it really blends in, it really fits, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to be working on some boats to add to the port here as well, so that way it makes it look like a living, breathing port. And I think a nice little touch to this build is this little turning crane that can be used for lifting supplies and materials out of boats. Now, one of the things that I don't like about some of my previous castle builds, and about Lego castle building in general, is that there typically isn't a viable way to get up to the top of any tower. And it just doesn't make any sense at all that they would have to climb or fly to get to the top of towers. And one of the nice things about this particular port build is that there are realistic ways to get up to the top of the two towers that are part of this port. And it just adds a sense of realism to the build, and it's really kind of fun to be able to add that element to the build itself. So here's the back of the port, which will be facing our castle courtyard, which is currently being renovated. And there are 3 doors in the back of this port that open up and allow you to see the inside. And the first one there has a staircase that eventually leads up to one of the towers. And then on the other side of the port, there are 2 doors that open up for you for access to the interior. And one of them is sort of like a little work area, and it has a ladder that also goes up to the second level. And then the other door, it's sort of like the little living area, the reading room. There's a little book that you build that you can set on the desk there. And the door goes to the outside where the port area is. So the doors are a little bit hard to open, and my son, who plays with these sets all the time down here while I'm building, it would be a little bit of a challenge for him, so there's a possibility that I may wind up taking the doors off of the back, so that way he has ease of access, and I think it'll look just fine as everything kind of goes out into the courtyard. So when I started building the port, I got this crazy harebrained idea to go ahead and do a major renovation of the castle itself. This despite the fact that I probably do not have the technical skill to pull off what's in my head. But I got the idea from one of my viewers who suggested adding some elevation, and that's the plan, is to elevate the castle so that I can do some really cool things in the back. But the original layout of the castle was with it wide open. I did have a little mock ramp there, but it was open so that my son could play in the back. The ease of access in the back was really important. I hadn't really done much with the courtyard itself, but I had some plans. But now with the elevation, I've got some other ideas that if I can get the castle put back together, that I can work on, and I hope to share those with you. And as you can see, the castle kind of looks like a little bit of a mini Death Star at the bottom there, because I'm working on adding the elevation, some rock work there. And that's the big reason why my son can't play with it right now, because it's just not stable, but I hope to be able to fix that. And inside the courtyard, I'm going to, tile it over with gray, and then the staircase there is going to, come down into the courtyard, so it sort of connects the castle to the back of the port. So over the next few months, I'm going to be making what I hope will turn out to be improvements to the castle. And one of the things that I'm working on is something that's bothered me since I got this castle, which I think is amazing. But this one thing has bothered me, and it's the idea that when you come into the castle, you sort of enter on a platform, and there's no real way to get down to the bottom floor. And I'm going to fix that by a combination of elevation and also change to the gate so that it makes more sense, and that coming into the castle will be on a courtyard and not rather on a platform. And I'm going to take advantage of the new elevation by creating a dungeon and maybe a couple of caves underneath of the courtyard. I'm really excited about that and just ordered the pieces, and we'll begin working on that very soon. One part of the remodel that I was able to finish before this video involved the third floor of the main part of the Lion's Night Castle. Now, I know that this castle was built so that it could be opened and closed, but it creates a little problem in that there are different compartments to the castle that aren't really connected, and it makes it look like it's not realistic, like you can't get from one section to the other section. So I fixed that by extending out the top floor and then also extending it around where the castle is supposed to close onto the other section there, where the staircase to go down to the next level. And then I put some little bricks up there to sort of add a little retaining wall so that it's not an OSHA violation. I think it makes it a little bit more realistic and makes it make sense for being able to get from one part to the other part of the castle. Well, that's all the updates that I have for this video, but if you're interested in following along as we continue to work on our Lion's Night port and our castle, or if you're interested in seeing some of the other builds that we planned for the other part of our massive medieval layout, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, happy building!